So, coronavirus, or COVID-19 if you're nasty. I can't remember what we used to speak about before the situation got as out of control as it already has, and obviously that's for a good reason. More and more people are being infected, more people are dying, a lot of things in the UK are shut down luck off, and I have to stay in my yard, so it's a scary time for everyone. But I'm not going to give you some explainer about the coronavirus. However, what you can stay here for is the fact that I'm going to go into something a bit more specific that is to do with corona. Something that has come to my attention over the last couple of weeks, and it's to do with my medication. So a drug I take on a daily basis for my lupus has been in the news a lot lately. You may have heard of it by now. It's called
Hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine, first and foremost, is an anti-malarial drug, so you often find it in places where you're likely to get malaria, go figure. But they later found out that it can treat autoimmune diseases like lupus, arthritis and scleroderma, which is great, and I take that drug a lot, and it's good because it doesn't suppress my immune system. It modifies the way the disease acts in my body. So while it does have its side effects, it's probably one of the easiest drugs to take if you're living with an autoimmune disease, in my opinion. There have been some claims that have been reported on in the media that hydroxychloroquine may be able to treat some of the symptoms of the coronavirus, but this has not been proven and it's not been agreed upon by people. However, it seems that some people have really ran with this idea that this drug can do these things, and it doesn't help when you have the likes of Donald Trump and other outlets really insisting that this is some kind of miracle drug for the coronavirus. There's a problem with this in two main areas. Number one, there are people that are trying to get their hands on or are currently taking hydroxychloroquine that do not need to take the drug. As mentioned before, hydroxychloroquine is an anti-malarial. It's used to treat malaria but also autoimmune conditions. If you don't need to take it, don't take it. You literally can get side effects from this that are really horrible. There have been a couple of people that have overdosed on this already, and I'm also hearing stories of a guy and his wife that took something that belonged in his fish tank that contained chloroquine, and he ended up dying from it because of this idea of wanting to either treat their coronavirus or prevent it from happening. Hydroxychloroquine is not an antihistamine. It's not a hay fever tablet. You can't just pop it and then get immune from the coronavirus, as far as I'm aware. So please, if you don't need to take it, please do not take it. It's not good for you, please. Okay? The second thing that I guess I'm biased in saying this is more pressing to me is that because of this heightened awareness of hydroxychloroquine and its potential to treat corona, a lot of people are buying it, and so patients like me with lupus, arthritis, scleroderma and any other condition that can be treated using hydroxychloroquine are struggling to get their medication. And that's not just in one country, that is all over. An article got brought to my attention the other day of an American woman with lupus that was denied a refill of her prescription for hydroxychloroquine, and they thanked her for her sacrifice, and I don't really know how to feel about that. For people with lupus, a lot of the time there is no alternative for the medications we can take. Okay, cool, let's say that hydroxychloroquine can treat coronavirus. That's great, right? We found another use for this drug and we can help more people. Why does it mean though that lupus patients have to take the fall for that? Why do we have to choose either or? Why does it mean that a lupus patient who will be in constant flares if they stop taking their medication, who then may be at an increased risk for getting coronavirus because now they're off their medication? Like, why do we have to choose between those things? Why do we have to be thanked for our sacrifice? It's just a bit frustrating, and it just kind of drives home this idea that I sometimes have, that the world doesn't care about people with illnesses like mine. That's what it feels like. I am recording this now on my phone because I feel less awkward about it. Just stepping out for my one outing a day to get my prescription. So fingers crossed, and let's see how that goes.
A few moments later.
Right, so as I predicted, I didn't have my medication in stock and they told me to call around. What I thought was quite interesting is that he asked me what I was using it for, which means that people are trying to get this that don't have lupus for this coronavirus stuff. I've never been asked why I'm using hydroxychloroquine before, so clearly there's something going on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try find pharmacies that are close to me or near enough that I can call to see if they have a supply of it as well. Hi there, I'm a lupus patient and I've been trying to get my prescription for hydroxychloroquine. You don't have it in stock? Okay, thank you. Hi there, I'm a lupus patient and I've been trying to get hydroxychloroquine. Do you have the Zentiva brand by any chance? I've been trying to get my prescription for hydroxychloroquine. Oh, okay. Is it the Bristol brand? Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much for your help. So that was interesting. So it shows that you can still probably get some supplies of hydroxychloroquine from certain pharmacies if you call around. So that's promising. Some of them are having shortages because of the situation with coronavirus, but some do have it. So that is a good thing. But if you're like me and you need a specific brand because one brand makes you feel ill, this is a bit of a nightmare.
Welcome to Pharmacy. Please select from one of the following options. To speak to a member of staff, press 2.
Hi there, I was just wondering if you have, I'm a lupus patient, if you have any hydroxychloroquine in your stock. Do you happen to have the Zentiva brand? That's great. Can I come in a bit to pick it up? Okay, let me not get too excited. Let's just get it first. Just wanted to add a little something because obviously I'm ranting about the potential shortages of hydroxychloroquine for lupus patients, but I'm just reading here that RAREDA, the Rare Autoimmune Rheumatic Disease Alliance, is now calling for the UK government to act early to prevent prolonged shortages for people that obviously live with lupus and stuff. So big shout out to RAREDA, Lupus UK and other organisations that are fighting on behalf of patients with lupus and other autoimmune diseases to make sure we can still have a supply for the drug. Sometimes it feels like no one cares about people with chronic illnesses, so it is really encouraging to see that there are organisations that fight on our behalf. So big shout out to Lupus UK and RAREDA. This whole thing with the coronavirus and its crossover with chronic illness patients, it's not just about hydroxychloroquine, it spans wider than that. A couple of you sent me some clips of what you thought about the current situation.
I'm a florist and I live in Rome, so we're all in lockdown at the moment. My next 2 events have been cancelled because of the coronavirus. I'm a little worried about it because I'm autoimmune and I think it'll be more complicated for me to get better. And I kind of worry about it triggering a flare. But I don't want to be paranoid at the same time, so it's kind of hard. It's a tricky situation at the moment. There's a lot of people out there worse off than me though.
It is extremely worrying. People with a chronic illness, it takes so much longer for you to fight like any type of virus, even down to your common cold. So it's worrying, it's frustrating. I literally have no words.
Thanks guys for sending in your opinions and perspectives. Also, there's a really interesting blog post by Super Pooped Blog, so I'm going to link that in the description below, which also goes into what it's like to sort of see the situation going on as a chronic illness patient. Follow them on Instagram and also check out their blog. For me, this coronavirus situation is interesting. A lot of people are dying after being infected with this condition and lots of people are being infected. What's also interesting is watching how the situation is severely impacting the lives of people that are not infected with the condition, and that it's not necessarily because of the virus itself, but more so how society has been organised. So for example, those people who work really hard to earn money for themselves that now can't because of the way society has been set up, and the fact that they can't afford their houses anymore and can't afford basic necessities is very indicative of the fact that it's not the virus that did that, structural issues in society did that. Or, as I was talking about earlier, that the coronavirus situation has meant that people are now buying a type of medication that they don't need, and that having a knock-on effect for people that take said medication and potentially putting them at risk because they don't have the medication used to treat their lifelong, life-threatening condition. That is not the virus that did that. We did that. And to me, that is really something, and I can't really even give a conclusion for that. But I'll do my best in terms of concluding the video, and I'll just say a few things. Number 1, stay inside if you can. And that leads on to my second point, which would be 2, for those who can't stay inside because you are working to make sure that things are still operating, that you are working to make sure you're looking after the people that are falling ill and are staying up all hours of the day and the night to save people's lives. Thank you. Number 3, don't take hydroxychloroquine if you don't need it. Just don't. Anyway, thanks so much for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you're watching this on whatever platform, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, IGTV, and you liked the video, make sure you like the video or hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe and follow You Look Okay to Me on all my social platforms so you can be made aware of whenever I upload another video. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and I'll see you in the next one.